Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. This morning, we're switching gears, not so much so that we're not talking to great minds, because this morning is all about great thinkers. And we are joined by Louisiana's most winningest high school coach. Just when I think that there's not another accolade that he can be bestowed, he gets another accolade. I'm talking about Coach Charles Smith from Peabody High School, the War Horses. Well, not only has he taught for 5 decades, 50 years, he's been the head basketball coach for 36 years, won any number of accolades and championships that you can think of. Well, this morning, he joins us to talk about being inducted into the National High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame. Coach Smith, good morning and welcome back.
Good morning.
I said every time we think, well, what else can they give him? There's nothing else. Well, there's something else.
Okay. Well, so glad to be with you this morning.
I always enjoy talking to you because you are one of those great minds, great thinkers, and a lover of helping to produce young men and women that go on to do amazing things. And so on this journey, Coach, do you think, what else could I do? What other accomplishment could I achieve? Or are you constantly raising the bar for yourself?
Well, you're correct there. I raised the bar for myself, but not to necessarily, get awards. I raised the bar in order to help young people and to try to get them to perform at a higher level so that they can become successful members of society. Mm-hmm. Right.
And so when did you know that, and I've asked you this before, but it's like you keep producing, but did you know at a certain point, okay, God, you've gifted me to be able to father and mentor any number? I mean, it's like Abraham, like children are just,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Massive.
Right. Well, to be honest with you, when my son began to play T-ball and AAA football, one year I had the opportunity to coach his team. The little team was in last place. They hadn't won any game.
They were in last place.
They were in last place. They hadn't won any games. So it was a challenge for me and for my son. I wanted him to be a part of a successful, little league team. So what I would do, and I still was coaching my team and my high school team, but in my spare time, I would gather the boys up. Matter of fact, I traded my car in and I got me a truck. And I would gather the boys up on weekend and we would just find a vacant lot somewhere. And we would go out and I would, show them, because I did play baseball in college, and I would show them the fundamentals of baseball. And then so happened when the season started, we had a great team and we won the championship.
You did.
So I guess that was the beginning of Coach Smith.
And so when you start to progress and you start to see all of these young men, now is there it's almost like a rite of passage if you want to play professional basketball or you want to go to college, especially D1 colleges, that you want to sit under Coach Smith. How do you sort all of that out? Because you got so many kids and so much talent.
That's correct. When these kids come to me in the 9th grade from the middle school basically just prepare them for competition. They don't really develop their individual skills. So when they get to me in the 9th grade, I know and I can assess the kid to tell the level of their skill level.
Right off the
bat. And I know if they are, what I call basketball players. You have athletes and then you have basketball players, you have football players. And I can determine in their 9th grade year if they're going to be a basketball player.
And what does that mean, if they're going to be a basketball player?
And that means simply that, first off, they have the ability, and then number two, they can think the game. And that's what I look for, what kind of decisions they making on the court with the ball. And if they can make the necessary decisions, the adjustments, then I know that they're going to be great basketball players. Because when you're playing ball, any type of sport, it's a mental aspect of the game as well. So I can determine if they are going to have that mental aspect. Like I tell them all the time, basketball is not running from goal to goal shooting a basketball. It's a lot of other things that goes on in between there.
And so you have to be now a student of the game.
Correct.
How do you teach that?
Well, first off, as I say, you have to teach them about being a member of a team. It's no I in team. So first you have to have them to understand that you have a certain role to play on the team. If you are a guard, then you have a role to play. If you're a wing man, you have a role to play. If you're a post guy, you have a role to play. So I get them to understand what their role, and then I work very hard to show them the skill level that they have to attain to be good at that position.
Now, where does mathematics come into into play on the court?
Well,
or does it?
Good question. Very good question. I think mathematics comes into play. Most of your coaches, and I'm not taking anything from the coaches, most of your coaches are basically PE teachers. And myself being a math teacher, and the coach before me, Coach Ernest Bowman, was a math teacher. So we look at things from a logical standpoint. You know, what are the logical things that you should do out there? That means that we're not going to keep doing the same old things over and over and get the same results. What we're going to do is make adjustments. And by making those adjustments, the outcome is going to be different. So I instill that in my players. Also, the geometry of the game. When I say about the geometry of the game, you have to look at the angles. Basketball consists of angles, so they have to understand angles in order to cut players off, keep them from driving to the goal. And then also the main thing is that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
So have you used your mathematical skills? Did you know that because it's a game of angles that you had the edge, so to speak, with the mathematical skills that you possess?
Right. Well, it gives them the edge. It gives them the edge.
Well, it gives you the edge as the coach because you're making the impartation, right?
Well, you're correct because I have to impart that knowledge to them. But as I said before, it kind of gives them the edge because they know how to not burn unnecessary energy and how to prevent plays or things from happening on the court because they can more or less cut it off, stop it before it even happened. So that helps them. And then it helps me also because when I evaluate film, me and my coaches, my son, Coach Kedrick, when we look at film, we can use those same ideas when we evaluate the other team. Right.
So have you been able to instill a love of math in your players? Because most kids, or many kids, come to math with really bad preconceived ideas about what it is.
Right.
Are you able to fuse, math into the game?
Right, I do. And I tell the kids all the time, if you're struggling in your math class, the seventh hour, we have what we call an athletic period at the seventh hour. So those kids that are struggling in mathematics, I would take them off to my room and then we would have work study. So anytime that they're struggling in math, and then also what we do is this: if I have really, really top-notch math students on my basketball team, I would let them mentor and tutor those other kids. Give you for an example, this past year I had a kid by the name of Tyreek Miles. Played football. He was a quarterback in football, and then from football he came over to basketball. This young man was an outstanding student. I taught him advanced math trigonometry. He scored a 33 on the ACT.
Wow.
So what he would do is I would let him take some of the players that were struggling, and he would take them and work with them in order to improve their math skills.
Wow, amazing. We're going to take a break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk about Coach Smith's new induction into the National High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame. Stay on point. We're back right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. It's always great to talk to game changers in our community, in our state, and really in America. And Coach Charles Smith is one of those people who is changing the lives of students, especially young men. And he has been honored by being inducted into the National High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame. So when you get that call, tell us about that moment. Who calls you and tells you?
Good question. Very good question. I was on my way to a game in January. I was driving the bus, and we were on the way to a game.
You drive the bus
and
too?
people say, a Hall of Fame coach driving the bus? Yes, you know, whatever necessary, whatever I have to do to help these young men succeed, I'm willing to do that. And we were on the way to the game, and I got a call, and it was Dave Doherty from Lincoln, Nebraska, saying that I had been.
Did you know who he was?
I had no idea.
Okay.
When I saw the call, Nebraska, I had,
like,
what is this? I mean,
yeah.
you know, and
Good thing you answered it. 'Cause
you're
you
right.
think Nebraska, that's
correct.
just
Same as a prank call.
A prank call, right?
So I did answer the phone. He said, Coach Smith. I said, yes. He said, this is Dave Doherty. I know you don't know me, but I'm calling to inform you that you have been nominated to be inducted into the National High School Coaches Hall of Fame. And I paused for a moment, you know, and I said, yes. He said, yes. He said, you have been selected by your peers. These are coaches from the state of Louisiana. You have been nominated for this award. And he said, in March, the committee will meet and make our selection. So sure enough, in March, I received a call back from Mr. Doherty, and he said that I had been selected to be inducted into this year's class, 2021 class in Lincoln, Nebraska.
So you've received so many accolades that I know your wall is full, or your room, wherever you keep them. But what does it mean for you and to you when you are selected by your peers? Because they could choose anyone.
That's correct. That's correct. And then, you know, in the state of Louisiana, I've been the head coach now for 36 years. I made a lot of friends. And of course, you know, you make enemies too, because, when you're winning, and some of the coaches might have, you know, some feelings against you because you win so much. But we win because we work. We put the time in. But I do have friends, and they nominated me for this great award. And so that made me feel good, you know, that not all the coaches are against me. I do have some in my corner. So they had to nominate me to receive this honor.
You know, I think that's an incredible point. You know, we want to be happy for people when they're winning all the time.
Right.
But sometimes
That's right.
we may not necessarily
That's
be
correct.
all that happy. Is there a pressure to keep winning?
Well, the pressure really is on myself. Fortunate enough, in high school, we are not under that great pressure for winning all the time. In colleges and the pros is different. But high school, we are hired basically as a teacher. And then your secondary job is to coach. So there's not a lot of pressure on you to win, although you want to win for the pride of the school. When you've got a winning team, it helps the pride of the school. So that's the way I approach it. And it also helps the pride of the community. You know, the community rallies around you. So it gives the community something to look forward to. So every year we're in the state playoffs. Most of the time we go to the Final Four, which is the state tournament in Lake Charles. So all the people, I'm not saying all, but most of our fans, they make
Y'all have great fans. Y'all have great fans.
And I always call them the fans, our sixth man. And so they make preparations, hotel reservation and stuff in Lake Charles in order to get a room, in order to be there to support us.
So Coach Smith, 50 years of teaching, almost 40 years of coaching. How do you keep getting up, getting the energy, getting the drive to do it and to keep doing it? Because you don't seem to age. Mentally, still very acute, very sharp, and physically.
Well, first thing is that I'm not doing it for personal gain. I'm doing it for the kids. And I tell people all the time, as long as I can continue to produce a product that will help my kids down the road. Most of my kids are at-risk kids, meaning that very few of them have mother and father in the home. So in most cases, I have to be a father for them, and in some cases, a mother also. And I don't mind doing that because, I would pull a kid off to the side, take him under my wing if there's a problem, and try to find out what the problem is. And I have a great coaching staff also. I'm just sad to say I lost one of my assistant coaches this past year to COVID,
Wow.
Coach Buddy.
Wow,
He was a
sorry.
great guy, came aboard, and he just bought into the program and did whatever he had to do to help our program. So our hearts were sad this past year because of that. But as I said before, I just have the energy. I have the energy to still teach. I just feel that I can help the kids. When I go into the classroom, I try to be a role model for them. I try to encourage them to let them know, hey, you can do this. You know, I know it's difficult, I know it's hard, and I'm going to break it down to you so that you can understand and be successful.
Do you fuss?
If need be.
Because you never seem like, when we watch you on the sidelines, your fuss level seems to be
Yeah.
like right here.
Well,
What's that temperament, and where does that come from?
To be honest with you, I try to get all that done in practice. We have very, very intense practices. And I try to get all of that done, and I try to drive home my point. And when you fuss, that's basically what you're doing. You're trying to get the kids' attention, and you're trying to drive home a point. So I try to do all of that in practice. Because when you get to the game, the kid mind is on the game, and if you get them kind of upset with them, you try to keep it low key.
And does that take them out of their game? Too much fussing and too much internalizing?
Correct. And I believe in letting the kids play. I mean, you go out there, we practice, you know what you're supposed to do, so go out there and get the job done. Now, during the game, my coaches and I, what we do, we make adjustments. And by making those adjustments, it's not fussing, it's just making adjustments. We might need to change defenses or change defense assignments or change plays. But we do that during the course of the game, and that way the kid keeps a level head and he doesn't get all excited and upset about things that happen in the game.
So over these many years, how do you change game plans and refresh and make it new so that you continue to win?
Well, number one is when I first started coaching, I wanted to have a program that first was entertaining to the fans, that number two, that would produce young men that could play college basketball. So by doing that, I feel that I'm able to help them to move to another level and keep their interest at heart. And most of the kids that play for me, they come back, we talk on the telephone, they call, Coach, how you doing? Or I call them. I've got kids, they're all over now, Chicago, New York, Alabama. Matter of fact, Reggie Rambo called me the other day from Alabama. He went to the University of Alabama, played basketball, and he's now works for the Department of Corrections in Alabama.
Wow.
Right.
Does it just make your heart full with all of these children that have become men that you have sown into their lives?
Right. And all of them, have done well. They're doing well. Even the ones that have kind of slipped through the cracks, I let them know, hey, I'm still there for you. Whatever I can do, call me. Don't hesitate to call me. If I can do something to help you, I will do that. And they really understand because they know. They say, one thing about Coach Smith, he's going to tell you the truth.
You're going to tell him the truth in love.
That's right. If he can help you, he can help you. And if he can't, he's going to tell you that. But most of the time, my guys have been very successful, and we talk quite a bit.
Coach Smith, you know what? You never cease to amaze us, not with just the accolades that you've received, but that the heart that you have for the children and the young men in our community. And may God just continue to lift your star. May it rise higher and higher and shine brighter and brighter. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you. And it's always a pleasure to be with you. I watch your programs in the morning. Great job. Very informative.
Thank you.
Very informative. Thank you so much.
That means a lot because we're all just students at heart. Really.
That's correct.
Thank you a lot. Hey, everybody. Coach Charles Smith. He is newly nominated, inducted into the National High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame. Stay on point. We're back with more right after this.